We've got a new winner on the PGA Tour. We've got some new news for new gear, and we're going to talk about two different topics, one for fitting and one for club making, all on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Next. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, and this is a live stream where we talk about golf equipment opinions, golf equipment reviews, golf equipment repairs, and whatever other topics might come up after that. And also our scores can go low, right? If you would, somewhere down in here, there's a like button and there's a subscribe button. If you would, hit both of those, and that way you get more of the videos and live streams when they become available. And that just helps out the channel. So we're gonna get to moving right away. So number one, PGA Tour, Max Homa ended up winning and defending on his PGA tournament this last weekend. I got to see the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 holes, and it was just a matter of who was going to blink first. And it looked like Danny Willett, who basically had control of that whole thing until just towards the end and let a few leak out. And Homa just drove it home. I mean, he was just playing really consistent golf and did a very fine job. So congrats to him. On the DP World Tour, Robert McIntyre, he won his round. Good for him. And I think we have a repeat winner on the LPGA Tour as well. So all's good with that. And they played in some pretty, the PGA Tour played in some, well, it was rainy weather. I won't say it was awful weather. It was sprinkling quite a bit. And that was that one. Normally I would show you pictures of what was going on in the shop, but my camera and my computer were fighting each other to an extent where I almost became cameraless, and I almost became cameraless because I almost threw my phone. However, I do have one picture I want to show you. Went golfing with my buddy Bob again, and it was in the afternoon. So here's how Sunday goes. Normally I get up early in the morning, pack my bag, go golfing, get back before 10 o'clock. And then I start cooking and we start fixing remaining golf clubs, that kind of thing. Well, super nice weather, and all the golf courses were packed with tournaments, scrambles, that kind of thing. And I couldn't get on till in the afternoon. So I got a hold of Bob, and he says, sure, let's go. So we went to the JC's in Chillicothe. And it's a very nice course. It's been well kept, and in the last 2 days, they've had 2 scrambles of 144 people on it. So the thing's rock hard. However, we got to play, and it was a nice day. And I just wanted to show you this one. This was number 18. Number 18, if we can get that out there. There we go. That's number 18. There we go. And that's from the tee box, and the green is behind that clump of trees there, what would be at the left as I'm seeing it. And so it worked out pretty good. It was not too bad. I shot like crap because it was my first round since Maryland, and hit the driver like nobody's business, and hit the iron pretty good, and the wedges were terrible, and I read every drop of break there ever was, and only to find out there weren't any because Bob double rolled them. So I'm blaming him. So that's just what it was. And I got around and got it back to a 43, and it started hitting it pretty decent at the back. So I ended up recovering, not too bad at all. We did a Mizuno driver amongst everything, but Sunday was the first Sunday I've had in almost 2 years where I didn't have something to do, which kind of threw me for a loop. I was almost out of sorts. So I started doing research for a new series of videos concerning putters. And putters seem to be a pretty decent topic right now. And so what I had to do is I broke out, and I've been testing this thing off and on since that guy. I've been testing this guy out off and on for almost 6 months. This is a new version 2 unit, and the reason why I didn't use version 1 too much is because the setup was tedious, and I just didn't feel like having to make the golfer wait while I calibrated this guy and put it on a stick and just did all kinds of stuff. Where this guy, you just mount it. Oh, and mounting is just incredibly easy now because this little disc comes off and the shaft slides right up into here, and then you just put this guy right on here like this, and you tighten her down and away you go. And it has a display, as you guys saw, and it displays 3 parameters. So you can use this thing on a without an app, without your iPad or without your iPhone or something along that lines, or a PC for that matter. And then you can bring it back and download it to your PC in order for it to give you all the information that it collected. Now, this thing is 8 grams lighter than its predecessor, even with this shield on it, and the shield comes off. So I guess it would be even more or even less. And it basic functions that it has is 16 different parameters that it looks at, including shaking and percentile and where you hit it on the face as far as toe or heel and how much that impacts the efficiency of the putt and some of the typical stuff. And it gives you a 3D motion of what's going on using a putter plane, a golfer plane, and it's in several different views. It's a pretty substantial piece of putter equipment, we'll say. Now, it's more geared towards the PGA teaching professional or self-learner, if that's what you want to do. And okay. However, I'm not that guy. I'm the fitter. And I am turning it into a fitting tool. So now it's time to get serious now that I've got the time to really put my, well, I guess how would I say it? My OCD stuff towards it in order to make it work and get it as part of my program. I'm already a level 2 certified person in the way that this thing works, and now it's just to apply how we would use it for putting. Okay, and so I'm not going to go over it in too great a detail because that's going to be the video tomorrow. The video tomorrow is going to be on adding this to my fitting arsenal and going over some of the things that it covers and showing you what it covers. And then from there, we'll use it as part of putter fittings / putter reviews when we start doing some of that. All right, so there we go with that one. The second one, and while we're here, I had another idea on an idea for a video, and I'm calling it Clubmaker Mistakes. And the first one was, what's the top 3 mistakes we make as a club maker? So while you guys are out there, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a pro. You can be a tinker, a hobbyist. It doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. But while we're thinking about this, and I know some of you guys are builders out there, think about what was one of the very first mistakes that you guys made, and put it here in the comments below. Put it in the comments, and let's talk about it. And that's what I'm going to use as my subject matter for we're going to do it 3 at a time, because after that you start getting off track, right? I just want to do 3 topics at a time, and I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, it might be good for 2, possibly 3 videos. But so tell me what some of the mistakes are, whether it's putting on a grip, measuring it wrong, bending it, whatever. Take just pick a topic and let's go over it, and then we can do that. All righty. The last thing is I got a visit from the Mizuno rep and the Srixon rep on the same day. Now I'm still under embargo. I believe I'm embargoed until Friday, and until this coming Friday. However, I can talk about it. So you guys will probably be some of the first to actually hear it for real, what's going on. And I posted this out on my Golf Spy, so if you're a member out there, you'll have seen it if you even follow what I talk about. Anyway, so this year the Mizuno hot metal, or the hot metal line is what's being replaced. Affectionately known as the Hot Metal 921 is now going to be the Hot Metal 923. They like saying the numbers individually. They don't like 923 or 923. They like hot metal 923, which is what it's going to be. Now the line came with a hot metal pro, and then it went into a hot metal forged, a hot metal tour. And the tour, from what Chris, their designer, would say, is that is MP, an MP head in hot metal clothing. He said that on here when he's talking to us. Now this year, there's going to be the Hot Metal Pro, or the Hot Metal Pro, the Hot Metal High Launch, the Hot Metal Forge, and the Hot Metal Tour. So they've added one more model to the lineup. Now, what's that? Why is that? Well, the Hot Metal and the Hot Metal Pro got a little bit stronger in their lofts. Not gross amount. I don't think we'll ever see something stupid strong, but it's strong in order to compete, right, in the distance category. And I think they went up a degree, three quarters, half a degree to a degree in some of their instances, because you get some of those lofts at 0.5 and they just crank them up some more. But they did that. Now, in the 921, and I should show you, the 921 and the Hot Metal Pro look virtually identical, except for the Pro model had less offset and a slightly thinner sole. Now this year, the designs across the board, we'll just start with this one. The designs across the board, if it was even possible, are even more clean, all right, or even cleaner. And more specifically in the forged and the tour models. Excellent look. The tour in this one had a bit of a longer blade, and there was some, it was clean, but it could have been better. This year it is. All right. Now go back to the top end, the Hot Metal Pro. The Hot Metal is going to be like it is, stronger, a little more, probably same amount of offset, same width in the sole, good look. Hot Metal Pro is going to be actually a little smaller, less offset with the same loft characteristics. So that's squarely going to be in what they would call the player's distance category. Now the High Launch, this is the new one. The High Launch is actually a weaker set of lofts. And it looks like a hot metal, but weaker set of lofts. And you're like, well, Jim, I mean, why? Why would you even do that? Well, there are other companies out there doing the very same thing, and it's for folks that are more concerned with getting the ball in the air than they are hitting it out. So they need some more of this and less of that. That's what that's for. Now, who would need that? Slower swing speed folks would need a little bit more higher launch, and because airtime is what gives you distance, right? Airtime gives you distance. And so if you're hitting it like this and it falls at the same speed, if you hit it up in the air, it's going to go a little further. That's just physics. And so that's what they're doing. Now, is it crazy weak? No, it's not crazy weak. It might be like 2 degrees weaker. So you might back up a club on some stuff, but you're in the air, you're carrying it further. It's a very friendly club, that whole 9 yards. The last bit of this is the HM, or the Hot Metal Pro, and the Hot Metal High Launch are being released first. And I've placed my order, and hopefully I'm receiving them this week sometime so we can do a review. The Hot Metal Forged and the Tour will not be released until later on, closer to the January, February time frame. And that's, I'd like to say it's a supply chain thing. I think it's just they're going to sell a ton of these Hot Metal 923s and the Hot Metal Pro, and the High Launch. The other ones are a lower number of SKUs, and so they're just building them last. That would be my opinion of it, what's going on. And so you're going to see that. Now, another thing is, of course, they're releasing another driver set, an X and a Z. And this time, if you look on the bottoms, I should have that in front of you. In the bottoms of the drivers, they have what was called that wave form technology. It was those ripples right behind the face. That's gone. That's going to be replaced with another material, and it's kind of a aqua blue color. And I'm not going to tell you the name of it, only because I don't know the whole name of it. It's a core something or another. And it looks a little bit more aerodynamic from what I've seen of it, a little more aerodynamic. It's going to come with a 3-wood, obviously, and for those of you that like the CLK like I did, that was in the first generation of these, they've revamped the CLK, and there will be a CLK coming out. And only it's going to be more in line with, it'll have an ST designator on it, but it's the CLK. And that's going to be great news because the CLK from Mizuno was a real performer for us here. And I think it stood up to a lot of other bigger OEM hybrids. So I would watch out for that as well. And then nothing changing in the putter category. And I think that's pretty much going to be about the end of it. So we're going to start seeing stuff here pretty early. I hope Mizuno, if I doubt you're listening, but I hope you are. Hope you're going to the PGA show. All right. Next one, Srixon. Srixon in the ZX line. Some serious improvements are being made in the Srixon ZX line. You got a ZX4, a ZX5, and a ZX7, or ZX for our friends up north and across the way. The ZX4 in the current lineup as it is now, in my opinion, was a very forgiving club, and it was a very nice club. However, it was a very ugly club, and it looked very clunky, and it looked half done. And that's kind of the reason why a lot of people didn't gravitate towards them. This one, the new ZX4, looks like a golf club. I wouldn't be surprised if that got a truckload of love on the internet the minute that it started showing up. It's very forgiving, very big. It's not huge big, but it's bigger. And it has more of a look like the ZX line as opposed to somebody slapping some leftover metal on the back and making it a hollow body. So that's going to be a plus. The ZX5 and the ZX7 are more, again, much like Mizuno did. They cleaned up the head quite a bit, and they put a what they called a channel in there, and the channel is to segregate the head a little bit. They're still sporting the V sole. I don't think the V is necessarily as prominent as it was in the past. It's there, but it's not the main player anymore. And they're single billet forged, and I think that we're going to see some good stuff from them. They're also coming out with their driver lineup, and again, the driver lineup was, this is the weak point in a lot of these companies, right? They're really good with irons, not so much with the woods. And that was the story for Srixon. And was it a good club? Yeah, it was a good club. Was it a world beater? Nowhere close. And okay. And the new one looks a little bit cleaner. It looks a lot bit cleaner, to be honest with you. A little bit more tech in it to, they changed the rebound frame to allow the rebound frame to actually rebound. And so they're going to have a ZX5 and a ZX7, and there's one more, and for the life of me, I forget what it looks like. I've got a picture of it, but again, I can't show you. And we're going to see a fairway wood and a hybrid to match those. And then finally, they're going to see a new Cleveland. The RTX is going to be RTX 6, and it's going to have a little channel in between it as well in order to make it go. It was actually kind of a nice looking club. And, if you're in the shop, I make no bones, I'm not a huge Cleveland fan, but we had some guys that absolutely slayed them. And okay, that's what fits. And I think these are a better look. And if all, the zip core face is still there, it's just a little bit of movement of weight and just a little bit of rounding, which I do like. I do like the rounding. And and they also do have a full toe, or a full, what they call a full face wedge. A lot of folks in the repping area didn't like it. I thought it was cool. So I'm in the minority here, so that's what that's all about. Okay, so that got me through all that. Yeah, let's talk. All right, all the way to the top. No, we're not there yet. Here we go. Cliff Hill wants steel shaft for drivers and the Tour Exotics. We talked about this one last week. The only place that I know that has an actual steel shaft might be Apollo. And the folks that might have those would be, I got itch. The folks that might have those, I think it's called Golf Shafts America, would have those. They carry, that's what they do. They carry a lot of golf shafts. And I think Apollo is the last person doing that. All right. And I don't know what you're shooting for that, but if you find some and that's your thing, I would buy more than one because it very well may just disappear. All right. Matsky, there you are. What do you say, sir? Shot 73 at a local Don Ross course. Good for you. Played the middle of the greens as you should, right? Don Ross courses. His thing is small target-like greens, and you're pretty much at it. The way to beat that is just aim for the center, and you have pretty much not much more than 10-footer on the way in, which would basically screw Bob because he's no good until he's outside 40 foot. And I'm going back to that. I watched him. We paced it off. It was a 50-footer, and he rolled it in like it was standing right next to it. So that not only is that to him, but he loves that Koatai grip, that big teardrop grip. It's really long and has the texture on it. If I get Mrs. McGolfin, she's hearing that, maybe she'll bring one and I'll show it to you. But he's just all about that. And if we put it on the make field, we thought, well, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And he's just dropping them from all over the places. And so good for him. Question: as we get set for fall and winter golf, see, there's their first mistake, Matt. We get set for fall and winter golf. Now, got to remember, Matt's in Cleveland, so he gets actual snow and lake effect and all that other kind of stuff. Once it gets below, once it gets into the mid 40s, I'm done. I'm a weenie. Yes, I am. However, do we change our golf goals? Do your golf goals change? That's a good question. Do your golf goals change? Yeah, I think they do. I think scoring becomes important because and figuring out how your equipment works. There it is. She listened and she heard me. How's that? She listened. Uh, and I look forward, just I'm more about ball striking, and I just, I know it's going to take a longer club, and you're playing a different game. So it's kind of fun to try that out, and it kind of gives you a different, gives you a better appreciation for when it gets warm. All righty. New swing feels. All right. Add some distance. All righty. So Mr. McGolf brought me there's the Koatai. And if you guys see it, that's what it looks like at the far end. BJM grips are the folks that do this stuff. And so what's different than this one than the other one? If you can see, it's got all those bumps on it. Apparently they had got some feedback, and they said it needed a better texture, so they put these bumps on it, and the bumps, and it's actually a little bit more grippy. So and it's huge, right? So look, here's both my hands on it, and I still have this extra amount left over. So what's the idea with this one? So if I'm to stand up here, and the idea here is that you take this guy and you push and you get in your hands underneath, so both your hands are underneath here, and then you lay it right here, and then you just drop your hands, and then you bend over to the ball, and then you just swing back and forth in a pendulum motion, and it makes you very reliable. And Bob has taken this thing on, and he ought to be their damn spokesperson for that stuff, because he is just absolutely slaying it. So there you go. Charlie gives many rounds as condition presents the weather. That's a good one. All right. Dalmore. Okay. Matt. Nope. Hey, Kent. How are you doing, buddy? I stopped putting cards in. I'm not having my handicap ruined by terrible playing conditions. I spent more smart practice and grooming my swing foots. All right. I think me and Ken are on the same page. All right. Way to go, Charlie. Duke, I'm back and over COVID. Congratulations. I hope everything, you didn't have any long-lasting effects. And as Robin was telling me today that on an interview, the president said that the pandemic is over as we know it. So hopefully we take that, and all the governments out there will get us out of these doggone masks. All right. So going for a driver fitting tomorrow. Any advice of what I should look for and questions to ask? Well, I don't want you to, number one, Duke, go on with an open mind. Okay, go on with an open mind. And the other thing is, tell them some of your preferences. If you prefer a lighter, if you at least you think you prefer a lighter club or a heavier club, or the things you want to do, hit it higher, hit it straighter, hit it, be able to work it. Tell them the things that you want to accomplish as goals in the fitting. And that way it will help the fitter get you there faster. All right. And the other one this is just my harp, is unless you're like, I don't know, 6'5", 6'7", right? 6'5", 6'7", or even with a flatter swing, and they don't want to look at the length of the club, then you have an issue. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, well, I'm hitting the ball all over the face, and they're like, and they say, we can't make it any longer. I'm like, well, why would you? Make it a little bit shorter. Quality of hit, that smash factor, is an incredibly important specification, and that you want to get that thing as maxed out as much as you can, because even if you're hitting it bad, it's still going to perform well. All right. A couple of this year. All right. Jim, if changing a putter from a double bend shaft to a straight shaft, what can the expected results be? Well, Charlie, so number one, a double bend shaft, if we're looking at it, it's a shaft that goes down, it bends towards the putter, and then back down. That would be a double bend shaft. Now that means it's already coming in at an angle. Okay, so let's make sure we're on that one. And if not, then it might actually be a triple bend, where it goes from the putter, it'll go out this way, and then it'll go over, and then it goes up. So either way. So what'll happen is if you go to a straight shaft, the putter will go foomp, and it will flop clean open. All right, the balance on the club, let's say it's face balance or even a little toe dangle. When you go to straight in, it will flop open like a fish. And if you're a screen door putter, you very well may love it. If you're straight back and straight forward, you better hang on for dear life and go and do that. Now, and that would be true center shafted or all the other ones. So you want to be careful of that one, but that's what would happen. Oh yeah, it is called Dalmore. It's Dalmore. I picked this up when we were in, and this is the American keg. I got this up in Chillicothe at the local store. Very tasty. Thanks for the comments, King Charles. We all know my favorite portion of golf season is coming soon. Yeah, Eskimo golf for Matt. That's what it is. David Jones, thanks for the quick shipment. You are very, very, very welcome, sir. I'm glad you like it. Yes, it is a lot less traffic. There's a lot less there. All right. What we got here?
I switched on you. It's Glenlivet.
Thanks for the comments, King Charles. It is it?
Well, I opened up a new bottle.
Why didn't you just use what was up there? It was right there in front of you.
No, it wasn't. Fetch it.
Oh, okay. We're going to go up there and we'll get it. We'll see.
It's Glenlivet.
Huh?
It's Glenlivet.
Oh, well, Miss McGough switched it out as now Glenlivet. And I believe it's a 12. Hey, close that door behind you. All righty. New Jersey in the house. What is your secret to drilling out hosels clean? I always have trouble getting the last few boogers out. Well, number one, Travis, what I do is I have the absolute biggest benchtop drill press I can possibly buy. It's got a 3/4 horse motor on it, and it is very, very, very adjustable when it comes to speeds. All right, and I know some can be done with a dial stat, but I change the belt, and I get down to just under 500 RPM, because when you're trying to remove metal, in a lot of cases, the way I do, running slower is better. And I also use a reamer. Okay. I don't use a drill, I use a reamer. Now, there are ones where I use when I'm putting in my master fits for my irons, I will use a drill, but I'm not worried about cleaning out the bottom because I'm only drilling a certain portion of it out. So I don't have to worry about it so much. So hopefully that helps. But a reamer is a much, much better tool for that job. At least if you're talking about drilling them out if you're drilling them out in order to make them bigger or going from taper to parallel. Now, if you're talking about drilling out hosels clean and you're talking about trying to get all the junk out of the bottom, right? All the junk out of the bottom, I use a wire brush and I put it on a drill. All right. Cliff Hill wants to use a new driver, new driver, want to use steel shaft. Your thoughts? Cliff, I'm not a fan. Uh, the steel shafts only because they're like somebody, it may have been you, yeah. Uh, there's one left. There's one, and let's assume Apollo does make it and you can get it. It is one. Even if you get it in the right flex, uh, if you're going for a feel thing, then and they do have a regular. I got to make up a few assumptions before I tell you the answer here. Number one, I'm going to assume that you're a quick tempo kind of guy, and you want and you can't feel the club head on the way back in order to do it, and you very well may have, let's say, a speed that's in the regular flex. All right. Well, the fact that you're aggressive, you probably need to be in the stiff range. That's number one. Number two, the steel shafts are, again, they're heavier and you're going to slow down and it's going to be at the cost of speed and distance. Now, how much? It depends on what you're used to swinging with graphite. The other part of it is that, too much weight can pull you off center. That would be the other part. Now, using steel, you can actually go a little bit shorter and be way better. Now, saying that, length is length regardless of the weight of the club. That's the length for you. And uh, if you can find a graphite shaft that works well for you, I would seriously consider back weighting. All right, back weighting so that all the weight is right here on a grip, right? It's all in your hands. And the idea is, it's not for everybody, but what we're talking about here is that when you're a fast tempo swinging person, that sometimes there's a mistake that you have to have this super duper heavy club or super duper heavy head weight in order to feel it when you bring it back. But when you talk about bringing it back and you're setting it here, right, and you come back and you set it here, this is where you're feeling it, right there. That's where you're feeling it. So put the weight there. Well, it'll make the club foot feel light. Well, as a whole, yeah, but when you swing it back, your weight is here. So when you bring it back, you'll know it's there, and you swing it through, and it's there. All right. That's a trick that Jack Nicklaus used for years. His was a very heavy club, but his swing weight was massively light. All right, and it's because they back weighted with liquid lead in a dowel rod. So they would do that. Long drive guys tend to do that as well, right? And that's so you get the weight in your hand and you still get the speed in the turn that you can get in both cases. That's my assumption, Cliff. I hope that's right. Uh, but it here as of late, we've had one or two in the last, say, 5 years, and we've taken them down that path, and we've eventually removed the shaft and went to something else. That's just why I'm going with that. All right. Yeah, right. New gear, and everybody's releasing. We're getting close to the silly season. As soon as October hits, that's when everybody starts visiting, right? And so Mizuno and Srixon basically struck first blood, so to speak. And I have Wilson coming this weekend, I believe. And that I got big hopes for that one, because the D9 it's time for the D9 stuff to be switched out, and we'll see whether or not the CB gets a facelift as well. And I still have yet to see Callaway. Now, we've seen plenty of Titleists out there. The driver release has been really well welcomed out there, and I'm just waiting to see what the rest of them are going to be like. It could be this could be the season of the driver. You just never know. All right, Matt's talking. Favorite rounds are walking 18 in 2 hours or less. That is some speed walking, brother. And Charlie's right with him. I'd prefer it hot if nobody with nobody on the course. Well, I'll be in the middle. I'll take about 60 degrees, my kind of 60 degrees with nobody on the course. And typically when I get out there, Matt, the folks at Crown Hill, we get out first. There really is nobody on the course in front of you, and that's the best time. That's why I like getting out early. Steven, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. All right. I appreciate the reviews of the LP2 Wilson irons. Thank you very much. You're welcome. My current play of the original models that came out 2 years ago. Is it worth upgrading or not? Steven, the cosmetic appearance on the LP2s are significantly better. Did they do anything else anymore? What I think they did is they took a little bit offset out of the club that you currently had in there. If I had my druthers, the physical characteristics of the first gens are more draw bias, where they sit down, maybe be a little bit closed, and they have that tremendous amount of offset, where it's not nearly as prevalent in the LP2s. So if that's been throwing you off a little bit, then yes. If it hasn't, I'd wait another generation. All right, I agree, but I've noticed that the courses are still filled up and extremely hot. Cold is the opposite. Yes, that is. There's Ken Halo, bank holiday for Her Majesty's State Funeral. Yep, was able to drop on this evening. Well, you know what? On that, Kent, I'm glad to see the outpouring of people wanting to pay attention to that. I think that's a great thing. It's one heck of a leader you had there for 70 years. That is amazing. So good. And condolences. Peter, what do you say, sir? Played a tournament at Pinehurst this weekend. Tullamore, Mid South, and Pine Needle, 70, 70, and 78. Peter, you are the man. Well done, sir. We're getting ready to go there. I think Mrs. McGolf will probably, if she hasn't answered you already, will probably answer you here shortly. That's where my buddy Bob and I and the wives are going. And I'm sure a couple of those are on the list. Good deal. Past my prime. What do you say, sir? Missed last week. My cable coming into the house. Had an altercation with a falling tree branch and lost. Caught both on replay. Oh, dude. I hope you're doing all right then. There's no good in listening or losing to a tree branch. See, the progress on the house is doing very, very well. Good for you. Glenn Levitt. There you go. 12. She said so. Nice rounds. You are correct. 70, 70, and 78. He's the man. All right. Yep, David ordered another towel. Of course, we do have the new ones in, as you guys I showed you last week. We got the navy blue, white. There's one camo left, black and white, and it's the McGolf logo towels. They're very, very nice, I must say. Jason, we say been looking for a regular flex Epic Max 9, and it seems they're really hard to find a regular flex. Would I lose distance accuracy if we're going to a senior shaft? Well, Jason, what I'd probably have you do is look for that same thing in a 10.5 and just crank it down -1. A half a degree won't make much of an issue. I would do that first before going to the senior flex. That's a good one. Danny, what do you say? I ordered a set of Rogue ST Max irons with my first set of graphite shafts. Also two jaws raw, 52 and 56 degrees. Good for you, sir. The graphite shafts are very, very nice. Will have to say, but I do like the jaws raw. That's been a really good wedge for me so far. But I have the full toes, not necessarily the raws. But the raws have been performing very, very well. Paul Bagnall. All right, must have missed it. What was the putting device called? Oh, Capto. It's called Capto. Let me turn it on for you one more time. See if it'll come on. There it is. Capto. And it says hello. It's a group out of Italy, and the people there are extraordinarily nice. The guy that runs there's a lady, and I'm not going to say her name only because I would be very offensive in pronouncing it incorrectly. However, their lead instructor is JB, and he's Dutch, and his last name is very, very long, as a Dutch last name would be, and he is very, very knowledgeable in the ways of the Capto unit, and they will answer your questions forthright. All righty. Robin saying we're going there next month, and we are. Ken Turner, hey, hello. Really like my JPX 921 hot metals. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. The new 923s are just going to be a slight upgrade, so I know I'm going to get answered that one. Is it worth the trade up? Only if you're truly gobbled up with the distance monster. If not, then no. That's on my bucket list when soccer climate. There you go. Cincy this weekend. Hoo-wee. You're all over it still. I'm glad he's doing great. All right. Are they awfully similar? I don't know. The forged model, yeah. The forged model would be, there's a similarity there. In the hot metals, I wouldn't say so much. Particularly in the forged model from Wilson's, those guys would be very, very close to one another. Yeah, he does. He's got two of them now. All right. They do a pretty good job. Those Wilsons, I was hitting on them before. All right. Ha ha ha. He's fine. The tree limb took out the cable and garage window, but missed the house. Oh, well, good. Good, good, good. That's because they assembled painstaking care. taking care of my fellow bubblehead. All right. Has to be the fielder and the builder. Well, I would be remiss into it not agreeing with you, but I'm going to anyway. All right, Mr. Kent. There we go. He is gaming the, what was it? What did we get you into? The cavity back models. There's Mr. Paul Van Fleet. League is over. Hope everybody's doing fine. So how'd that knee work out for you? Everything do well? Hopefully it's all good. Always on when I have to work. Ah, okay. Robin's talking back and forth, and joining. There's Matt. Jason, I have full bag fairways and wedges, and he does. He's got the hybrids, the bendable hybrids. It's always good. We like jokes too. Oh, thank you, sir. There's Patrick. He did very well with his golfing here as of late. That's been very good. What's going on, buddy? Highest is a fellow submariner, i.e. Bubblehead. There we go. No, he's got the regular set. And for the life of me, I forget the number. It's but it's a different series. He's got the 919 on the driver. He's got a couple of the 700 series, I think, in the hybrids, and a 500 series in the other one. You know, you would think so, right? I mean, it's not traditional, Kent, right? It's not traditional in any shape of the imagination. And the Kotai, this thing's out of Australia, and you have to. I mean, you have to grip it in such a fashion like this in order for it to work. That's the whole idea behind this thing. And I mean, I've put it on a few, and when the folks do it, they tend to put good. But you got to use the system. It's definitely not a traditional one, but there's something to it as far as the way that you place yourself on it. Yeah, oh yeah, it's not for everybody. This guy is not for everybody. It comes in a red, by the way, or even there's another couple colors. This was just what Mrs. McGolf threw me. I don't disagree. All right, Josh and Courtney Higgins. What do you say? Jim, I was going to need to adjust my driver to set it up to the notches needed. Hope all is well. Okay. What causes double hits when chipping? You mean you double hits on the golf ball where you chip it and then it pops up and then you hit it again? I think that's a swing issue in that, and Kent would probably be able to help us on this one, or even Matt. For that matter, our friend from Myrtle Beach would probably be able to tell us too. That it appears to me when I've seen people do it, what happens is that they slow down then speed up, and they slow down and it pops up because it hits. They're coming in steep and then they turn real fast. That would be what I think of it. But the other fellows, we might see some of that. There we go. 575s. There we go. Been contemplating going back to the Wishon 575s and trying them to see my distances with the advice you gave me in Maryland. That'd be neat to see. Might be neat to see. Looks like you might be short. Might be a short webcast today, Jim. I just want to say thank you. Best golf site. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Whoa, we did get down to the bottom. Look at that. Oh, 3 times in 9 holes. Wow. Well, you know what? I'm the last person that wants to comment on that because the first 3 holes that we were playing, I chunked wedges short, and basically what it was is I was just I got right to here, I go, and then I would stop, and then I wouldn't accelerate through the shot. I think maybe that when you do the double hits, it might be a situation of where you're at versus how you're not fully swinging through the shot when you do one of those things. Really? No return. Even in the U.S., those guys in the U.S., yeah, let me know, because we can. If you really want to get to it, we'll send them an email. It should work out pretty good, because they do answer some emails from us. But I'm reaching across the pond instead. The guys that did this, if they're still in it, they're out of South Carolina, I believe. So we'll have to see, but we'll send them a note. Well, look at here. Leon, how are you? What's going on, guys? Minnesota getting cold yet? Hope everything is going well. All righty. So one last thing, I've been keeping a topic in my back pocket just in case. The is measuring length, and I was waiting for you guys to tell me any of your mistakes that you made building a club. Apparently nobody's doing that, so that we'll have to take a look at that one. I'll throw that out there on Twitter, or maybe in the in my Golf Spy, and see what I get from there. And that would be a lot of fun. All right. So it's 20 after, guys and gals, and I appreciate everybody chiming in again. It's always fun to talk to you guys. And as usual, if you would, like and subscribe down below, right? Like and subscribe down below so that we can get more notifications, more notice on the channel as well. And watch out for our video tomorrow. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.